Greetings, this is another reader, welcome back to my channel. Now I already have a video on my channel on my all-time favorite books. That's one of my earliest videos, not that great in quality. It doesn't even have a proper thumbnail. Now, a few months later, after I have done a few videos on YouTube, I decided to do a more honest version of my all-time favorite books. Granted, most books from the old video are the same here. However, when I thought about my all-time favorite books, I added some of the books and left out the others. This is the updated and more honest version of the video, and also better in quality. The order of the books is random. I counted the books. There are 14 of them. No honorable mentions. This book was in my previous video, and that's Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. Oh, I also have a few these notes over here. What this book is about? This book is about a young couple who has been together for 5 years. A 5th anniversary of their wedding is coming, and then suddenly the woman disappears. Everyone is trying to find her, however things aren't as easy as you might think. And the woman is herself a complex character. I love this novel. I spent an entire day reading it, loved it very much, but I liked it for a very specific reason. Now, I have seen few clips from the film, and both in the book and in the film, my favorite moment is Amy's monologue, when she is talking about her time with Nick and how she pretended to be a girl for him. To be honest, this is a very interesting topic. Now, of course, I remember many things from this book, and I'd love to read it again. I'd also love to replace the edition, because this is a soft cover, and I want myself a hardcover. My edition also has Ben Affleck on the cover, because he played Nick in the film. Number 2 here is Beren and Lucian by J.R.R. Tolkien, edited by Christopher Tolkien. If you have read The Silmarillion, you are familiar with the tale of Beren and Lucian. And if you read The Fellowship of the Ring, the song about Beren and Lucian is present there. To be honest, I think of all Tolkien books about Middle-earth as Tolkien stuff, simply. But I knew that it had to be in this video, and I picked Beren and Lucian. This story I loved most of all. I bought this book in March 2020. I was afraid of reading it because I thought I wouldn't be able to read it, but I managed to do so. It's about Beren, a mortal man, and Lucian, an immortal elf. Now, of course, the story follows cliches. The world is against them being together, especially Lucian's father, but they are still together, blah 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 blah. But it's written so well. This version is even better than the Silmarillion version, mostly because it focuses on Lucian and her deeds, on her great deeds. And this book also has Tivildo the cat, very interesting character that isn't present in the Silmarillion. And also, as I remember, the way Lucian met Juan the dog differs from the way she met him in the Silmarillion. I liked this version better. This book also contains the poem Lay of Lathian. I can't say I remember the poem that well, but the tale of Beren and Lucian as told in this version, the alternative version, I remember very well. I'd love to read it again. This one also includes Christopher Tolkien's commentary. This one was in my previous video. The third book in this video was also in the previous video, however in that video there was the Russian version, and here I'm going to show you the English version. And then there were none by Agatha Christie. When I decided to get into Agatha Christie, I decided to start with And Then There Were None. I read the book in one night, and I absolutely loved it. You have a story about 10 people who got invited to a mysterious island, and then all of them heard a very strange message, and then so after they heard the message, all of them were gone one by one. Even the title kinda spoils the plot. Now I read 4 Agatha Christie novels. This one, the first one I read, is still my favorite. I think of this book when I think of my all-time favorite books. However, there is one aspect of the novel I'd love to discuss. That's a topic for my future monthly reads videos. Speaking of monthly reads, this one was in my previous monthly read video. Like I said, I read this book 2 times in Russian and 3rd time in English. And just like And Then There Were None, I previously showed you the Russian version, but then I bought myself the English version, The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. There's something about this book that hooks me. Since I have a monthly read video, I talk about the Handmaid's Tale in detail, so link will be down in the description. I'm just going to say that I read this book 3 times and I'm going to read it again because it's absolutely amazing. Number 5 on my list is the first book that wasn't in the previous video. Oh, I own only 4 dystopian novels. In my previous videos I said that my favorite novels were, apart from The Handmaid's Tale, were Brave New World and Fahrenheit 451. While these are still great novels that I would recommend to anyone, I refreshed my favorite books list and decided that 1984 by George Orwell is more worthy to enter it. I love this novel so much. I have some notes over here. Well, I don't know how you call them in English. What do we have here? Totalitarian government when everyone is being watched. Total non-freedom, I'd say. So you have here this guy named Winston Smith and this girl named Julia. They're both party members. I think I don't need to explain the novel that much. Everyone knows what 1984 is about. It's just kinda horrifying how simple things are a crime in this novel. Very simple and innocent things are turned into a crime. And the third act of this novel scared me a lot. It scared me more than all the Stephen King novels combined. Absolutely love this book. Also, I have one sad story regarding this book. I literally saved this copy from fire. I bought this one in January 2017. It was Saturday morning. I went and bought this book. And on the very next day, the shop where I bought it burned down. Number 6 was in the previous video. Every time I look at it, I thank all my favorite bands and even YouTubers for introducing me to that novel. The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. I've already talked about this book many times. I'm just going to express my love for this book once again. This cover is also very beautiful. I have a small problem with my edition. It feels like the pages are going to fall apart from this book. I just can't say anything else about this novel that I absolutely love this. And I also want to use this book as an excuse to insert this picture once again. Number 7 on my list was also in the previous video, but in the previous video I put out part 2 because it was my favorite book in the series. For this video I decided to show only the first books in the series. A Song of Ice and Fire by George R.R. Martin. This one is a Game of Thrones, the very first one. Just look how many favorite moments I have over here. Various noble houses fight for the throne, and meanwhile a greater danger comes from the north. And also a young dragon princess is trying to find allies to conquer her lost homeland. There was a time back when I was still at university, I was obsessed with these books. I was obsessed with the show. I was a die-hard fan, loved it very much. It had such a strong effect on me. It turned my views upside down. I was shocked to read this and also excited. We're still waiting for Winds of Winter and A Dream of Spring. I hope to read them when time comes. Number 8 was also in the previous video, The Shining by Stephen King. I bought this book for myself as a birthday gift back in 2015. We have a story of an alcoholic and a failed playwright who moves in with his wife and young son to a hotel due to his job. The hotel is a haunted hotel. The father of the family is slowly turning to the dark side, and the boy is literally shines. He has special powers and an imaginary friend. Sounds interesting. I have talked about this book many times when I think of my favorite novels, and particularly my favorite Stephen King novels. I remember this. I'd love to reread it. Number 9 in this video was also in the previous one. Now, of course, how could I make an all-time favorite books video without Harry Potter by J.K. Rowling? I have a funny story regarding the English versions of the books. I bought The Philosopher's Stone, the first book, 3 times. Because the first 2 times I bought them in wrong editions. First one was the Scholastic edition, the American one, and the second edition was a Hufflepuff one. I love these editions. I am after these. I have already bought the first 3 books. I want to get books 4 to 7. Harry Potter needs no introduction. It's Harry Potter. An orphan boy who gets a letter from School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, Hogwarts, and he goes to study there. He makes friends, enemies, and goes through a lot of adventures. The book number 10 was also in my previous video, 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. I found this book in a library. Out of all books in the library, I picked this one because it was this edition, and this was one of the very few modern books in the library, because most of them that I read either used or the very old Soviet editions that I don't like. You have a story of the Buendia family told through generations. Most people who have heard about this novel know that there are 2 names, literally 2 names for nearly all male characters, just in different variations. At first it seems easy to get confused. I got confused too, but eventually you get used to it and you learn to tell one Jose Arcadio and one Aureliano from another. You have a story about a Buendia family that goes through generations and how they betray, how they love, how they do different things, and drama. The story is set in the fictional town of Macondo. The story starts with how Macondo is built. In the beginning they are very happy. They don't even have a cemetery because no one died yet, but that's the very beginning. The book is told fully and it is not divided into chapters. Number 11 was also in the previous video, Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card. So far this is my favorite sci-fi novel. I can't say that I read too much sci-fi, I didn't. I will try to read more sci-fi this year. You still have this chosen one named Ender. He goes to training in space, literally in space, on a spaceship. And how he trains to kill the buggers because there's a war with them. I don't know if this counts as an unpopular opinion, but I like the film. You can see that this is a film cover. If you want to get into sci-fi, I recommend starting with Ender's Game. Number 12 wasn't in the previous video. I read this book in 2016. I remember university every time I think about this book. I went through a few pages and then I realized that it's still one of my favorite novels, The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. I loved it so much I reread it again next year, and I'd love to read it again in the future. The story centered around Rachel. She gets relief when she rides on the train and passes by a young couple's house. The house is located in the area she used to live, but one day she sees something that she deems strange, and the perfect image disappears, and then suddenly the woman disappears, and Rachel realizes she can be the one to help finding her. Paula Hawkins also has a novel named Into the Water. I've shown it in my unhauling 28 books because I don't want them anymore. I read Into the Water once. I thought it was great. I didn't go to sleep, but then I realized that I wouldn't read it again, so I gave it away to my friend. This one, on the other hand, I would reread again in the future. Sure, I know all the twists, I know what happens. Number 13 was in my previous video, Joyland by Stephen King. I have talked about this book in my every Stephen King book I own. This is where I describe what the book is about. He has two friends that he makes in Joyland. This kind of gave me the Harry Potter vibes, because the main character is like Harry and his two friends are like Ron and Hermione. And the 14th and the last book was in my previous video, and I already made why it's worth reading. The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. You know, when I feel bad, when I feel very sad, I pick up this book, I open any page, read it, and feel so much better. This book is very atmospheric. It makes me want to jump into the book and befriend all the 6 main characters. I'm going to link my Why It's Worth Reading the Book Thief video. Just watch the video and you'll understand what I mean. But there's one thing I do want to mention about this book. I've mentioned on my channel that there are 2 booktubers I watch. Both of them are Russian booktubers. They have both recently released videos when they tell about their monthly reads, and both of them read The Book Thief. I listened to them, and then suddenly I realized what makes The Book Thief even better than it actually is. Different people can read the book, the same book, see different things. One booktuber, Bookspace, she saw one thing. The second booktuber, Books Around Me, she saw another thing, and me, another reader, I saw a different thing. The deal is that Anya was concerned about the real stuff, like the war. Yulia thought more about the philosophy, and I simply saw a story of a girl, simply a girl who loved to read, and her father. Father-daughter dynamic is the best part of the novel. I think I have mentioned that in my previous video, link in the description. That's kinda all. This is a more honest version of my all-time favorite books. There are just 14 of them. Yes, in my previous video there were more. Alright, thanks for watching, I hope you enjoy my video. Please like and subscribe, leave a comment and follow me on social media. Link to my link tree is in the description. See you next time. Goodbye.